Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Around Town with Rotary. This program is done monthly to help educate you on all of the great things that the Beverly Rotary Club does for our community. My name is Al Temkin. I will serve as co-host, and each month when we do this program, we typically have one of our Rotarians sitting with us, as we do today. To introduce that person is my co-host here, Mike Harrington. Mike?
Well, thank you so much, Al. We're really delighted to have a very special guest here today. Our guest is Lauren Belmonte. Lauren is a Beverly Rotarian, but she's also a local executive director of Change is Simple. And we'll hear all about Lauren today in her life and in her organization as well. So welcome, Lauren.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you here. Hey, before we get into your career and your organization and even your connection to Rotary, let's just talk a little bit about you. For instance, where did you grow up?
Beverly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about that. What were some of your memories of things that growing up around here locally?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, I was born here, and I'm back here. So I think a big part of my childhood was Al Mitchell's dance studio. If anyone remembers that, it's behind Soma. On the other side of that parking lot back there. So that was a big part of my early years. And then I did gymnastics for the YMCA for many years. I think other memories of kind of Beverly at that time was going to Freddy's with my parents and my sister. And we didn't go out to eat often, but when we did, it was Freddy's. I think... playing in my neighborhood. I grew up in Ralside, had a lot of friends there. It's a really nice community, and that's, I think, why I'm back here, my husband's back here, and I think a lot of my friends, I still know a lot of folks from high school who came back and live in Beverly. So
awesome.
It's a great
You
spot.
went to Beverly High back in the day,
I did.
obviously. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Well, that's terrific. It's great that you're able to stay here and stay connected to your hometown.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you. Before I get into that, Pat also grew up in Beverly, didn't he?
He did. Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Now, Pat went to school with one of my kids, I think. Didn't he? Did he go to school with Jen?
Well, we both did. So Patrick and I are the same year.
So you also went to school with Mike Jr.?
He was a few years younger, yes.
Probably more Lindsay.
Lindsay and Kristen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. But we've known each other quite some time, I would say.
I think it's 27 years was maybe when I first met you all, in 98.
Well, I wouldn't remember the exact number of years, but...
I only know that because of, I did high school gymnastics, and Kristen was
the captain.
My captain when I was a sophomore,
Yeah.
and then when I was a senior, Jen was a freshman.
Jen was the captain, yeah. Oh, Jen became the captain after that,
yeah.
Interesting. Tell us a little bit about you said you guys are now back in Beverly, and you said something about your baby. Tell us about your family.
Sure. Well, my family now, my immediate family is my husband, Patrick. We have a daughter who's 4, Maisie. And then also my parents, both, my mom grew up in Beverly, and my dad just a couple towns over in Peabody, and I have an older sister, Heather. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Your dad grew up in Peabody?
He did. Most of his childhood was Peabody.
What's your maiden name?
Berg.
What is it?
Berg, B-E-R-G.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. How old's Dad?
76.
A little bit older than me, because I grew up in Peabody.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's kind of a legend.
Yeah, he lived right over by
In my
Brown.
own mind, that's so true.
Entering Peabody, the birthplace of Al Temkin.
You probably haven't seen that sign. Yeah.
It's really fine print.
So, Lauren, the organization obviously you founded and that you run is Change is Simple.
Mm-hmm.
Tell our viewers a little bit about that. What prompted you to get that started back in the day?
Yeah, so my husband and I are the co-founders, and I have an environmental science background, and I was working in the environmental field and consulting and other jobs when I first got out of college, and I was learning a ton and liking, what I was doing, but I was starting to notice that even though folks who were in the environmental field, they weren't exactly living the way that I would expect or prioritizing certain things, whether it's, how they shopped, where they shopped, what they ate, the the waste they produced, just that general awareness, even though they were environmental scientists and biologists and ecologists. So I was like, what's that disconnect, and why do I care so much the way that I do? Like, where does that come from for me? And I remember being inspired by my 5th grade teacher at Ayers-Railside Elementary School. And then at that same time, I was often spending time with my husband's family. We weren't married yet, but his middle brother is an elementary school teacher. He's at North Beverly Elementary. And he was often complaining, understandably, about how little time he had for science in his classroom, but also as an elementary school teacher, he was a generalist. He didn't really feel super confident teaching science. So it just started very kind of informally as me going in talking as an environmental scientist and as a woman in a STEM field, those types of things. And then my husband said, well, if you're going to talk to kids, it has to be exciting and fun and hands-on. And my husband's very, very creative, and started college as an environmental science major, but shifted out into communications and business. And he said, we got to make this more exciting. So we just, both still working full time, just built a program. The first program that it wasn't Change is Simple yet, but we did it for a bunch of 4th graders at North Beverly. It was all about waste reduction because it was very tangible, easy for kids to relate to. And we added some math in there so that we got some curriculum in, because Patrick's brother said, you got to help us reach our goals. You can't just be this extra thing. So that went great. The teachers really loved it. The students responded well, and they said, well, what else do you have? And we were like, oh, nothing yet. And it's just sort of built from there. We knew being a nonprofit made the most sense if we were going to serve schools, because they just don't have a ton of money in their budget. And we didn't want it to feel that we were this business coming into the school. So it just grew. We had 2 volunteers with us. We were still, at the very beginning, me and Patrick were not getting paid, and we weren't paying anybody. Everyone was volunteer. And we knew that wasn't exactly sustainable, so we were always applying for grants. We had amazing founding board members that were really helpful to us with that. And we got our first grant from the Cummings Foundation, actually, very early on. And we hired the 2 women who were volunteering with us. And that grant allowed us to serve all of Beverly and all of Woburn, which is the 2 places that Cummings has the most presence. And we've been in the districts since. We've grown since then.
I don't mean to interrupt, but from all of that, Change is Simple got built.
Yeah, so we were founded or incorporated and founded technically in April of 2011. So we're coming up on 15 years.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say specifically? You had to just kind of summarize what exactly is the mission of Change is Simple?
To instill lifelong social and environmental responsibility in students. That's our mission.
Is there a certain age group you guys specialize in?
Yes, we focus on elementary through early middle is the bulk of our work. And even early on, we knew that those ages were really important as far as forming habits and values. And kids are still so excited to learn, and they're bringing what they learn home. So the mission, spreads into households as well. Yeah.
Great. You mentioned you started off with a couple of interns or part-time people. How many employees, like paid employees, does the organization have now?
We have 18.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
So we're a team of 18 full-time. One of those folks, so it's 17 full-time, one part-time. We've grown quite a bit. It's really exciting, and now we reach over 8,000 kids a year.
Wow.
With the
Amazing.
program. Yeah.
Wow. And now you kind of quickly went over that you applied for and got a couple of grants. You said Cummings Foundation and all of that. Tell us a little bit about the funding of Change is Simple, if you would.
Sure. We're sort of like, if you take our budget as a pie, we're sort of a 25% foundation supported, 25% corporate and businesses, 25% individuals, individual donors, and then it ranges, but 25% fee for service. So we fundraise between 80 and 90% and subsidize 80 to 90% of the cost of the programs that we deliver to schools. So they're really paying, 10 to 20% of the total cost. And that's a heavy lift for our organization from a fundraising standpoint, but it's really the only way that we can make this accessible and feasible for schools, because they just don't have, most schools and districts don't have the money in their budget to spend on partners. So we just knew from the beginning, well, not from the very beginning. We learned early on that we had to fundraise like crazy to make this work, which is an uphill climb.
Yeah.
But we've been so fortunate and honestly humbled that this many people have become involved in the organization and care about education, care about science education, care about environmental science and climate education. It's really amazing who has joined us and allowed this to grow to what it is. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's a great story.
It really is. It really is. In the couple of minutes that we have, Lauren, before we take the break, can you share a couple of examples of how is it that you present this to these kids?
Sure.
And how they are learning about the stuff that you're talking about? Yeah.
So we have a team of lead educators. That's what we call them. They're amazing folks. My husband and I were lead educators when we started. And so our educators go into the classroom during the school day. So we're not an assembly based. We really get in the classroom with the kids and work hands-on with the kids. So our lead educators partnered with our Northeastern co-op students. So every 6 months we have 3 to 5 college interns that work with us full-time, and they get trained on the material and trained how to teach in the classroom, and they're just an incredible asset in the classroom. Great energy for the young kids too. So we typically visit, well, just for a very simple example, say we're teaching in the third grade throughout Beverly, for example. We reach every student in the third grade in every school in the district 4 to 6 times a year. So we go in for 1-hour workshops at a time. And they're really fun and empowering. And we're talking about big, sometimes scary topics, but we make sure that it's developmentally appropriate and very hopeful and empowering for the kids, so they understand what's going on, but also how much ability we have to help too. You know, humans might be doing some bad things, but we also do a lot of good things. Mm-hmm. So we make sure that is very forward-facing in our lessons. And then we give curriculum to the teachers in between our lessons so that they can continue the learning. And then we come back for a second lesson and a third and a fourth and sometimes more than that.
Let me just interrupt you. We're going to take a very, very quick break. Please take a moment to watch a video that you're about to see. It's a couple of minutes long, just to further enhance your educational opportunities about the Beverly Rotary Club. And we'll see you as soon as that's done. Thank you.
We raise a lot of money for Beverly organizations.
And they bought us our refrigerated van.
They made a significant contribution to the restoration of Ellis Square.
They helped us house a family experiencing homelessness.
They bought us our bookmobile.
They were actually the first ones to donate instruments to the high school band.
They bought oxygen masks for our rescue dogs.
They helped buy our school bus.
They fund the annual Brad Gage Ice Cream Social at Lynch Park every summer, and they even scoop the ice cream.
Since 2014, they've supported the Cabot, funding preservation of this historic gem.
They helped to fund the Council on Aging van.
They were a major donor to our new infant-toddler playground.
They bought an emergency generator for Harbor Lighthouse.
We funded and built the gazebo.
And we've got a green thumb.
A lot of green thumbs.
A lot of green thumbs.
Not to mention sculptures.
We planted more than 100 trees last year.
They donated a shuttle bus stop that brings veterans to the VA hospital in Bedford.
We're going to buy a water drone to clean plastics out of Beverly Harbor.
They make a big difference for United Way.
We give up to 8 scholarships.
8 scholarships every year since the mid-1980s.
And I was a recipient, and thanks to their help, I was the first in my family to go to college.
It's more than just a local organization.
There are 33,000 clubs
in 200 countries with 1.2 million members worldwide.
All that good adds up.
Those do-gooders just keep doing good.
We funded 13 wells in Kisumu, Kenya, bringing water to 13 schools.
We contributed to Kalusha School in Pakistan, and later to the construction of a fabulous women's college.
Hi, I'm Izzy Polito.
I'm Mirabella Polito.
I'm Andrea Polito.
And we're all youth exchange students.
We started the Youth Exchange program 13 years ago, partly because I was also an exchange student in 1979.
I'm Aku. I'm from Finland. They hosted me as exchange student.
We funded Dr. Gordon Sato of Hamilton, who devised a way to grow trees in salt water in Senegal, Mauritania, and Eritrea.
Our club has funded at least 20 life-changing surgeries around the world.
And we've participated as non-medical volunteers
in the Philippines,
in Bolivia,
and Venezuela.
And remember,
Since launching the Polio Plus campaign over 30 years ago, the number of polio cases worldwide has dropped 99%.
In 2019, clubs in the district joined the Polar Plunge to eradicate polio. The clubs raised $90,000.
Can we get back to Beverly, please?
Over the past 10 years, we've raised, probably about $100,000. Try $400,000.
Over the past 10 years, we've raised over $1 million.
I have made some wonderful friends.
It's downright inspiring.
it's an important part of my week.
It's a very important part of my week.
Sometimes it's the best part of my week.
It's one of the best things I do.
Even if people still ask about the secret handshake.
Welcome back, everybody. Our guest here today is Lauren Belmonte. Lauren is a Beverly Rotarian. She's also the executive director of Change is Simple. In our first segment here today, we talked a little bit about the organization. And the second half, we'll pivot a little bit and talk more about Rotary. We're proud to have Lauren as a member of the Beverly Rotary Club, and a little bit about her personal life as well. So, Lauren, let's talk about Rotary. Who introduced you to Rotary, and how long have you been a member?
Matthew Piaker introduced me. You know what? I should remember when I met him or where. It might have been at a chamber event or something like that. And that was I joined in, I think, summer of 2017.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are some of the committees or activities? When you're in the Rotary Club, typically we look at people's unique abilities and skills and sometimes piece them into different committees that can be helpful. What are some of the things you've got involved in?
When I first started, I was on the Sprocket Committee, which was really helpful getting to know people's names and just the ins and outs of things. Now I'm involved, I'm on the Scholarship Committee. I've been on for probably 5 years now. And I'm also on the board, which sort of happened because of Jackie, which sounds like that's the case in a lot of
It certainly is.
which is great. It's all good.
Yeah.
And now I'm an officer, technically I'm an assistant secretary, so I then also go onto the foundation board, which is new as of, I guess, last year. Yeah. There was a short time there was an environmental committee that I was on too.
Well, given
Maybe
your background, some of those seem like logical fits,
Right.
Because of the nonprofit work and education and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's terrific.
Yeah.
Do you see any intersect between what we're doing at Rotary and Change is Simple?
I mean, sure. I mean, serving the community, and that can mean so many things. Rotary serves the greater community. Sometimes that's schools as well, and families, people, other organizations. Rotary has been a supporter of Change is Simple in the past, which is amazing. And I think just service above self. I didn't realize how much that was in me until I was an adult. But now in reflection, though, I think about all the things that my parents had me and my sister involved in as a kid. I was doing fundraisers and events for nonprofits and walks and runs, and I did youth group, and we were super involved.
So your parents were very community.
So they were,
community-oriented people.
I think I didn't realize that until I was an adult reflecting on that. But
Mike and I just simply are not going to understand that because we're not adults yet. So we're heading in that direction.
We're learning.
But yeah.
Well, that's terrific. You've accomplished a lot in your early career, and there's so many more things you're going to do in the future. But as you reflect back over this past, 10 or 15 years, what are your proudest accomplishments? Obviously, you've done a tremendous job with Change is Simple, but there might be some other pieces along it as well. Just any reflections you want to share with us on that?
Well, thank you for saying those kind words. A lot of, I think, well, one big thing is becoming a mother was, quite amazing and something that happened for me a little later in life. That's been an incredible, and I'm sure I know will continue to be something to be proud of. There's a few, I know this does go back to Change is Simple, but it's been such a big part of my life. I think it's really, it's kind of, when I step back, because there's always times when I'm like, oh, we should be doing more. We're not far enough. All the things that we do as critics of ourselves. But really, I'm really proud that we've built an organization, really a workplace that we have work-life balance. We've really been as intentional about how our workplace feels as we are about the mission and the work that we do. Making sure that our employees are paid well, that we have good benefits, that there is that work-life balance. There isn't this, unrealistic expectation of hours or stress. Because unfortunately, that's a lot of professional settings. So we've worked really hard to build that, and to make sure that although we are in the nonprofit world and we're a nonprofit, we wanted to shift some of the kind of grind that can happen. Not to say that we don't also have our very busy times of the year and where we can be a little bit, full. But we really try hard to make it a good place and a happy place and a supportive place.
That's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about leadership. I mean, most of the people in the Rotary Club are leaders in their own way. They're community leaders, business leaders, organizational leaders. Obviously, you've become a leader yourself of this organization with a number of employees and all these initiatives. What are some of the key attributes or things that you think make somebody a great organizational or community leader?
I think trust and transparency are both really big. I think whether you're serving your community or leading a team or an organization or a business, whatever it is, I think that's really important. So people know that what you're doing is coming, or they trust that what you're doing is coming from a good place, and you're looking out for the best, as best you can, looking out for the best of others. I think integrity is huge. Which also kind of goes with the first two. And communication, I think also just being able to admit that you don't know everything and that you're still learning. I mean, we all like lifelong learners. And when you do something wrong, it happens. Everyone makes mistakes. And I think we have to be okay with admitting that. Because that's only going to build more trust and build more camaraderie and just having that vulnerability. I think sometimes leadership is looked at as, I don't know, that you have to be tough or you have to be all-knowing or whatever those kind of not so great stereotypes. But it's so much more important to just be real. We're all human. And we can be vulnerable. We can make mistakes.
You don't have to be an alpha. You can.
Right. I would say, like, if you told me in my early 20s that I was going to be an executive director of an organization that I founded, I would have laughed really hard. So I've just learned and grown so much through this whole experience, and also just met so many amazing people that I may not have met had I not been involved in this work or joined Rotary. I think there's so many people in my life now that have enriched it, and I feel very fortunate with the people that I'm surrounded by.
Yeah, we're blessed to have you in our group.
And trust me when I tell you, because I do know you a long time, and I know a lot of people that know you guys, and everybody who knows you feels exactly the same way of having you guys involved in their lives. So that works both ways.
Thank you.
Works both ways. Now, we've spent so much time talking about your background and all that, and particularly Change is Simple. The approximately millions of people who watch this program every month, if somebody wanted to get more information, possibly be a donor, attend some of your functions, etc., what's the best way to get in touch with you?
I think our website's always great, changeissimple.org. But email, phone calls too. So if you find my information, Lauren at changeissimple.org. We're all mostly our first name at changeissimple.org. I'd love to have people know more, especially in this community, because we started here and we serve Beverly. We serve others too, but check it out, see if it resonates with you, if you want more information. We also welcome people to visit a classroom with us, to see it in action, because I think when you see it, it's so much easier than me talking about it. But we also have some videos on our site too, which are really great to be able to get a little glimpse into.
So again, that's changeissimple.org is the site, and your offices are right here at Cummings.
They are,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Cummings is confusing, but we're somewhat easier to find because of where we are.
Yep.
We're on right off of Center Drive, and you can only access us from the outside.
Yeah, and I've been there, and you just have a very welcoming atmosphere there, and a lot of information right there at the office, and people willing to chat as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we have an
so you're not in the
amazing
middle
team.
of the maze, you're on the edge of the maze, which is good. That's great. What do you guys do for fun when you're not doing all this stuff?
Well, I am very passionate about fitness. I also teach fitness classes at the Beverly Athletic Club.
In all your free time, you do that?
Well, it doesn't take up too much, but I've been doing that since before we founded Change is Simple, group fitness. And exercise is I do find joy and fun in it, but it's also a great stress reliever for me. It helps movement of any kind. I love spending time with my daughter and time with friends and family. I know that's very generic, but it's really true. And I think that as life gets fuller and busier, you have to focus on making sure that you have time for social stuff too.
Oh, that's great. Well, listen, you've been a wonderful guest, and Al and I always learn so much more about even old friends when we get them on a show like this, and learn so many cool things about you and your family and your background, and your organization is still doing great work. So thank you so much for joining us here today. Everybody at home, if you'd like to learn more about Lauren's organization, obviously we shared that website. To learn more about the Beverly Rotary Club, certainly visit our site at beverlyrotaryclub.com. But again, I'm Mike Harrington. I'd like to thank Lauren Belmonte for being our guest today. Al Temkin, my wingman here, he's always here to provide a few laughs and keep things moving as well. So everybody have a great holiday season, and thanks for joining us here today on Around Town with Rotary. Thank you.